Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Honorable Mayor Lindell.
I think I'm here.
Oh, awesome. Councilmember Morford.
I am also here.
Councilmember Soshow.
Here.
Councilmember Caper.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Boyette.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
All right, next is public comment or audience participation. This for items not on the agenda. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Anybody want to speak? I think this is one of those speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Next is a proclamation affirming May as Foster Care Month. Whereas children are the key to the state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, and whereas children have the right to thrive, learn, and grow, whereas foster parents provide the love, safety, stability that young children need in order to overcome past traumatic experiences in order to reach their full potential, and whereas Colorado foster parents are caring for and nurturing more than 2,000 children and youth in foster care today, and whereas we must come together as a community to recognize the important role foster parents play in caring for children who have experienced abuse and neglect, supporting family reunification and building strong communities. And whereas there is always a need for more foster parents in order to ensure children, especially older children, children with complex needs, and siblings have a safe, stable, and home in their community. And whereas there are numerous individuals, nonprofit organizations, and public servants who are dedicated to raising awareness about the needs of children and youth in foster care, as well as the invaluable contribution of foster parents, therefore, as mayor of the city of Fort Morgan, I do hereby proclaim May 2025 Foster Care Month. Our pleasure. Thank you. If you want to speak, say something. Yeah, say something.
I'm Carrie Schmeckley from the Department of Human Services, and I just want to thank you all for your support in this proclamation. We have some wonderful foster parents in our community who time and time again come through when we need them, and we're thankful because we don't have kids sitting at our office overnight or in hotels like some of the other areas of our state. So we really appreciate what they do, and it takes our whole community to support this process, including, helping out our foster parents. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is presentation possible action on a request for in-kind service and fee waivers for the Morgan County Fair.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Before you, as you've probably already reviewed, is the community event application on behalf of the Fair Board, really only pertaining to the use of the picnic tables for this year's Morgan County Fair. For this time frame, it usually spans starting July 21st this year and going until August 4th at the fairgrounds in Brush. The cost associated with this event is the use of our 30 picnic tables and the deposit for the picnic tables, both for the course of 15 days, came to a total of $4,950 total. Based on the previous success of the event and the proper care of the city's picnic tables property and the economic benefits that the city recognizes that the fair brings to the community, it's staff's recommendation to approve this request. I don't think I have anybody from the Fair Board here to answer any questions tonight, but do you have any that I might be able to answer?
Any questions or any comments? In that case, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a resolution for the in-kind services for the Morgan County Fair.
Second.
Okay, and I have a resolution by Jim Parks, a second by Jeff Morford. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next is presentation and possible action on a resolution authorizing the sale of certain vacant real estate in Nelson subdivision, which is an abandoned well site. Mr. Linton.
Yes, good evening, council, mayor. Tonight before you, I have a resolution to sell a parcel of abandoned well site over in, we're calling it the Nelson subdivision. I refer to it as the Elric land purchase. We discussed this in executive session, I believe, in November of 2024. And I think the parameters that were set, this falls within those parameters. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to ask or answer them.
Anybody have any questions or comments? In that case, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'll offer resolution accepting the sale of that property to Elric's.
Yeah, it'll be Ryan and Anna Elric, I believe.
Okay.
Second.
In that subdivision.
Okay, so I have a resolution by Doug Sashow, a second by John Caper. Vote by roll call.
Resolution carries unanimously.
All righty. Okay. Next is on the agenda, presentation and possible action on bids for stormwater pond maintenance.
Again, this is long overdue, and we need to start getting into our pond maintenance. We have 8 stormwater detention ponds located within the city. The work includes, but not limited to, mowing, trimming, edging, debris removal, maintenance services, and other related work on all berms and right-of-ways within the city at each location. Some locations have been overgrown with trees and debris, so others would just need occasional mowing. So we had, we sent out an RFP. We had 4 respondents: J&K Contracting, High Plains Cleanup, S&B Mowing, and Tenant Group. 3 of the 4 are actually local contractors. So staff has requested council accept them of the bid prices of all 4 respondents and establish them as an on-call contractor. Stormwater for the pond water maintenance.
And why are we subbing this out as opposed to doing it ourselves?
It's a lot of work and it's repetitive. Some of it's been needed maintenance for a long time. And it's our way of getting caught up, and then maybe hopefully we can keep up.
Maintain it.
So it's
then
catching
ourselves.
up, and then we'll keep up.
Okay.
Yeah, I can kind of understand the trees and whatnot, getting those out of there. But the mowing, I kind of agree with Doc and why we're not doing it ourselves, I guess. But
That I can't answer. We have done a lot of mowing ourselves, but there's just so much around these ponds to mow, and some of it takes more equipment than we have, and the resources we just don't have the resources to. Like I say, we're going to catch up, and we're going to try and keep up. Some of the mowing will be done. A lot of mowing will be done. I think if we do it this way, and if it's managed right, we can keep up with it.
Yeah, part of it is that those ponds are all at these different locations. Our most of our mowers that we have that you're thinking of are like our parks mowers, and our guys are on routines and they do the mowing and all that stuff. Our mowers that we use for rough mowing and weeds and stuff like that, we have fewer of those assets. And so we've been finding out, and Lauren can kind of speak to this, is that we've gotten to a point to where these things will grow at a rate that is too much for our staff and the mowers that we currently do have that are built for this to get from one project to the next, especially with like the big one that we have that we pull behind a tractor is the streets department mower. And so when those guys get into their streets projects and everything like that, and they're working on that, the tendency is to want to push off the mowing for several weeks. And as the police department loves to come and talk to us about, is that once it's noticed, it needs to be taken care of, because we like to keep our ponds at the same standard that we expect the citizens to keep their weeds around their property. And so in order for us to maintain the same level of service on the weeds that we expect the citizens, it is just far easier for us to hire somebody and have contractors available that when we can have them respond to it, we have them respond to it. And so typically we only expend somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 a year on the mowing of this. The reason that we did a full RFP this year is the large pond that is behind Gateway Apartments.
Number
That
6.
thing has been, that thing's been neglected for decades now. And with all the money that Gateway is putting into the apartments over there, we felt we needed to get that pond completely cleaned up, get the trees removed, and that is well beyond what our crews would be wanting to do and be able to do it in a timely fashion to get it cleaned up and squared away, so.
I agree. I drove down there today.
Yeah.
There is a lot of trees.
Yes. Yeah, it's been growing like that for decades now, and it's time to get in there and get it cleaned out and taken care of, so.
And, you know, the fence is down as well, and I see in there
Yes.
to replace or fix the fence. I think that needs to be done sooner than later.
And we have actually, we had been notified from the PD like 2 summers ago that we had some homeless people encamped down there. And we sent a crew in and fixed the fence that summer, and now it's down again. And so, yeah, we want to be able to get a contractor under contract, and that way we can get it all mowed off, the trees cleared out and everything, and then get the fence repaired, and then not make it a desirable place to go hide in, basically, is what they were finding they could do, so.
So the next question I got, one of the bids is like 7,000 to remove all those trees versus
That
70,000
was
with
from
the other
that
two.
tenant group. He's
Yeah.
from Centennial, Colorado. I don't even think he drove out here and seen what he was up against.
Okay, so obviously that won't be taken into a,
No,
okay.
no. I mean, it's a huge savings, but.
Yeah, the other two actually went and looked at it, so.
Yeah, so, yeah, he won't be taking that project.
So, and then I'm assuming that, you know, that one of these bids has it, the stump's taken down below grade so you can mow it easier
there's-
going forward.
Yes, there's 2 different costs there. If you take the stumps all the way out, I mean, grind them down to below surface, it's a little more. I think there's a couple of them that wanted just the grind in place, so they would just take a chipper down there and chip, which will help with the weeds.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and go through it and see what's the best way to do things down there.
Well, that's gonna take up most of the budget right there of this 100,000 I think you got in here.
Yeah, it's 72 and 74, somewhere in there.
Well, and then if you take it below grade, it's 95.
Yeah, yep. So we probably won't take it below grade because there's a
Okay.
few other places that I want to get to that need hit as well. So, like I say, if we can catch up on the big portions, then we should be able to go back in under our 10 or 20 grand and do, keep up.
All right. Any other questions or comments? In that case, I'd entertain a resolution.
I would offer a resolution to accept the bids for stormwater pond maintenance on a per occurrence basis as presented.
Second.
Okay, so I have a resolution by Jeff Morford, second by Jim Parks, vote by roll call.
Resolution carries unanimously.
Thanks. I'll do my best.
Doug.
Thanks, Doug. I wrote it in there.
All right, next on the agenda,
Let's get
Oh, yeah.
Doug.
Hey Doug, would you have Sasha come back in?
oh, presentation of possible action on bids for sanitation trash containers. Mr. Willis.
Back again. So, evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present our 3-yard trash containers. We went out for bid on these on April 3rd. Was made available on the city's website and at City Hall. Bids were due on April 18th, and we got 2 companies that put bids in on them. Waste Corp for 3-yard containers was $840.06. And then we're also looking at getting 1.5-yard containers too. We need to, we don't have a whole lot of those out there, but we still need to develop our stock a little bit on those. And those were $714.18. And EJS they did $739 for our 3-yard containers and $613 for the 1.5-yard containers. And they got a better turnaround time too at 30 days. So the total amount for EJS is $107,138. So staff is requesting council approval to get 140 of the 3-yard containers at $739 and 6 of the 1.5-yard containers at $613 and be a total of $107,138.
All right, any comments or questions?
Jim, can you remind me again, what's in the alleys? Which one, is that the 3-yard or 1.5-yard?
They're both go in the alleys, but the 3-yard's like the one behind your place.
okay.
It's the bigger ones. Yeah.
Right.
There's one alley between Wilson and Gateway. It's real narrow.
Okay.
And we don't even have room for a 3-yard, barely got room for the trucks. So, yeah, that's where the 1.5-yards go.
Well, that's where you use the smaller ones then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jim, I understand that there's a lot of differences in these, well, not a lot of differences in the containers, but what's the average life of these containers, because that's what people are going to kind of.
Yeah, it's hard to judge how long they're going to last because of what's put in them and what they go through. But I'd say we get at least 6 to 7 years out of them.
Okay, that's
Yep.
what I was thinking.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'll make a resolution to approve the purchase from EJS Supply for 140 of the 3-yard and 6 of the 1.5-yard containers for a total of $107,138.
Second.
Okay, I have a resolution by John Caper, a second by Jim Parks. Vote by roll call.
Your turn.
Yep.
That resolution
Oh.
carries unanimously.
I was getting ready to tell these guys you need to flip the switch. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, next is presentation of possible action on first reading of ordinance 1310, amending the 2024 model traffic code and request to schedule a public hearing on the ordinance for June 3rd. Chief Sharp.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you remember, last year we changed over to adopted the 2024 model traffic code. And over the past couple years prior to that, we had made some modifications to the 2020 model traffic code to include a new definition for an abandoned vehicle to allow us to more effectively work the abandoned vehicles, and also a parking issue that was happening in the alleyway over here on Main Street in the business district. So when we adopted the 2024 model traffic code, somehow the abandoned vehicle definition got left out in the 2024. So all this is doing is adding that back into 2024 that we already had in the 2020 model traffic code. Not changing anything, but it got left out, so technically we don't have that abandoned vehicle ordinance right now.
Okay, is there any questions or comments? If not, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a resolution on first reading of ordinance 1310, amending the 2024 traffic code and request a public hearing on June 3rd.
Second.
All right, so I have a resolution by Jim Parks, a second by Bill Garcia. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
All righty. Next is presentation of possible action on first reading ordinance 1311, amending the municipal code concerning the regulation of natural medicine and request to schedule a public hearing for the ordinance for June 3rd. Straker.
Got it at her feet, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a introduction to the natural healing medicine regulation here in Fort Morgan. If you'll recall, voters passed Proposition 122 back in November of 2022. which allowed natural healing medicine. It's called the Natural Healing Act of 2022, which would allow licenses to be applied for and received starting in January of this year. If you'll recall also that the council passed a moratorium back in December of 2024 until June of this year, preventing or not allowing licenses to be applied or considered in the city of Fort Morgan. Now it's time has come for council to consider regulating natural healing medicine businesses and healing centers. And we took this to the Planning Commission back in April of this year, and they recommended coming forward to City Council with the regulation. Unlike marijuana, City Council or cities in general cannot prohibit natural healing medicine centers or businesses in their towns. The group behind what we officially call as mushrooms has learned from marijuana and put some language in the act that would prevent us from prohibiting it. But what we can do and what the council can do is regulate where it's at, when it operates, things of that nature, as I detailed in the memo and the attorney put in their memo as well. What Planning Commission has recommended is that per state statute, it can't be within 1,000 feet of a school or a daycare center or a child care center or a preschool. But they also, what the Planning Commission wanted us to regulate is where it could be located and in what zone districts. On the map up on the screen or in your packet are the exclusion zones, as we call them, from schools or daycare centers within the city of Fort Morgan. So it's primarily the western half of the city. What we discussed with Planning Commission and they recommended was to allow it in the industrial zone for both natural healing businesses and for healing centers, and to allow healing centers in the B1 zone as a special use review, and allow healing centers and industrial businesses as a permitted right as well. Tonight is just an introduction to the ordinance and to set a public hearing on June 3rd. Jeff Wilson is here and can answer any real specific questions, but we just wanted to introduce it. And with that, I can answer any questions.
They may have any questions or comments?
Why did they suggest use by special review in B1 rather than just pick heavy industrial and keep it on the
The
current?
thought was it may be a healing center might be associated with like a medical practice or something like that. So they wanted to not prohibit it in a business area if there was a practice that wanted to have that capability.
Thank you.
Anything else? If not, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'll make a resolution to approve first reading of the ordinance 1311, amending the municipal code concerning regulation of natural medicine, and request to schedule a public hearing on the ordinance for June 3rd.
Second.
Okay, so I got a resolution by John Caper, a second by Lauren Boyette. Roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is a public hearing on ordinance number 1309, an ordinance amending municipal code titled Curfew Imposed on Certain Minors. This is a public hearing. Please keep public comment to the issues before the city council. Each speaker is asked to limit comment time to 3 minutes unless the speaker represents a group of citizens, in which event additional time may be allocated. Please respect these limitations. I reserve the right to limit public comment that is inappropriate under these guidelines or otherwise improper. I also reserve the right to limit testimony or questioning that is repetitive, cumulative, argumentative, or not pertinent to the issues, and to set a limit on the duration of testimony if I determine it to be necessary in the light of the number of persons who have signed up to testify. First is the issue of legal notice. Ms. Curtis, has this hearing been properly noticed?
Yes, on May 7th.
Next is presentation of the ordinance by Chief Sharp.
Thank you, Your Honor. Current curfew ordinance says that kids can't be out if you're under the age of 18 after 11 o'clock on Sunday through Thursday, 1 o'clock a.m. on Friday night and Saturday night, however, does not give an end time. So this ordinance would essentially just add a time that at 5 a.m., it's between 11 and 5 on those days, or 1 and 5 on the days it extends it. And it would be adding that. Last hearing, I know Councilmember Shasso asked how many curfew violations we had. I did do some research on that. It's interesting, over the past 10 years, we're averaging about 25 a year. However, since 2017, when the city closed the parks after 11 o'clock, that has significantly decreased. We see much less of that. I don't know if that's the root cause or if there's other issues going on. I also know that in the 90s, when I started in 94 up to about 2004, when we had kids that cruised Main Street often, we had a lot more juvenile crime in those areas that we were dealing with than when that stopped. So I don't know if it's a behavioral issue that changed with moving kids from an area, if they're going somewhere else. I don't know. COVID had an impact. Certainly in 2020, we saw almost none of this, of course. So I'm not really sure why, but to answer that question, Doug, we went from an average of about 20 to 25, and it's significantly decreased over the last 7 or 8 years since we closed the parks.
All right. Next, we'll hear public comments. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this issue? Okay, if there's not anyone else in public who wishes to speak on this issue, I'll ask the city clerk if any oral or written comments were submitted to the clerk's office prior to this hearing.
No, Mayor, there were none.
And now we'll proceed to council discussions. Are there any questions from the council or discussion from the council? If there's no further discussion by the council, I'll entertain a motion to close or continue the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Okay, and have a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All righty. Next is council action. Mr. Wilson.
Mayor and council, you've heard presentation of the bill. Proper action is by motion or resolution, excuse me, for final approval of ordinance 1309.
Okay, so I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a resolution, ordinance number 1309, amending the municipal code to 10-4-20 for curfew.
Second.
Okay, so I have a resolution by Jim Parks, a second by Jeff Morford. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
All righty. Next on the agenda is the 2026 budget calendar. Review and discussion of employee pay adjustments. Mr. Nation.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. You have in your packet a memo addressing what we would like to propose for employees. Typically, in the last few years, we've tried to tackle what type of salary increase we would like to see for the employees at the onset of the budget process, and so we're continuing that again this year. I'm asking for a little bit of flexibility with this, and so as you see in the memo, I'm asking for a maximum of a 3% potential increase for employees next year in the budget. I do want to go ahead and continue to monitor our sales tax numbers through the year. We've gotten the first 3 months in, and 2 of those 3 months have been down. And so it sounds like in some other municipalities, that's kind of been what's, usual. And so I want to be able to monitor that through the rest of the summer and see where it is. And so if we feel that the sales tax numbers are continuing to decrease, we would make an adjustment to this 3% number before we finalize the budget for the year. And so we've got until October when that happens. But for right now, if we come in with numbers that are comfortable and around where we anticipate them being, we would go ahead and go with that 3% number then in the final budget presentation. And so, so hopefully that'll work out. I'm hoping these are just blips in these months in the sales tax and things will start to come back around and everything will be good. But just letting you know that we're going to monitor those for a little while longer before we make a final determination on the salary numbers. So happy to answer any questions for you.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
She doesn't like to talk to you guys.
Raise your hand if you please.
Jennifer is here if you have any questions for her.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Jennifer? Does anybody have any comments in total as far as the 3%? Well, I guess I'll address this way. Anybody have a problem with the way that this is listed as far as being our instruction going forward for staff?
I appreciate your monitoring it and not just locking it in here in the first 5 months of the year. So hopefully it changes and people start parting with some money with the economy coming back up. So hopefully that shows in our sales.
Okay, so looks to me like
I agree with John.
people are fine with this then.
Okay.
And
Very good.
everything, so your direction is as you self-directed.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. Okay, next is consent agenda. Ms. Curtis.
So for number 13, we have item A, approval of the disbursements and payroll for April, and item B, the approval of the minutes of the May 1st City Council regular meeting. All matters listed under item 13 consent agenda are considered routine business by the council and will be enacted with a single motion and a single vote by roll call. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is deemed necessary, that item should be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately.
All right, any comments, discussion that you can't discuss? All right, in that case, I'd entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a resolution to accept the consent agenda A and B.
Second.
All right, so I have a resolution by Jim Parks, second by Jeff Morford. Vote by roll call.
That carries unanimously.
All righty, next, reports by officials and staff. Mr. Nation.
Okay, very good. The last week or so, it's been, I wouldn't say unusual winds. It's just we've had a lot of wind. And so trying to keep up with the one storm last week, it's, for some reason, it went after large tree branches this time. We have some of those windstorms that's just small stuff and we can gather up rather quickly. This time around, we've had crews, our city crew and their bucket truck have been going around. We had a lot of large limbs that were hanging in trees that were definitely safety hazards. We brought in outside help on some of that too with Dardanus helping. And so we're getting close to getting all that cleaned up and tidied away, but there's still some things that need to be addressed. We go through this with every major storm where citizens have questions about whether the issue that the destruction of property was actually a city-based issue and whether that means they can file a claim against the city. And so we're wading through those. And so we try to help people if it is potentially a city right-of-way tree that caused the damage. We help them, fill out paperwork and all that. We do have people that we just, it's a tree in their backyard, it fell on their house, it's, their homeowner's insurance. And so I know Jennifer's office has been busy with a lot of those phone calls and everything. So we're trying to get through all of that with these early spring storms that seem to happen every year. So, but definitely well on our way to getting all that stuff cleaned up. Just gearing up for full season as the school gets ready to end. Obviously, we'll be kicking off the summer season with the pool and the splash pad and all that, the fun stuff, gearing up. I caused somebody to, no, okay. And so, always encourage people to follow our Facebook page and everything about those different activities that are going to be taking place. And so TNL is going to be here in a few more weeks. And so it's that time of the year. And then I was just going to let you guys know that in the morning, myself and Doug are heading to Kearney, Nebraska. We've got 2 days of meetings out there as they're approaching the end of their fiscal year. And so we're having conversations about where that budget is at and everything. So I'm sure I'll have more to update after those meetings. So that's all I got for you.
Ask a question.
Sure.
Trees on the sidewalk to the street, on the right of way. Obviously, the one in Sherman, 400 block, is rotted inside.
Yeah. And
Is that one of those that we're going to take down ahead
Yes.
of time?
yeah,
I
no,
assume
it's-
that's cities.
yeah, it's a city tree and it's already been deemed a hazard and will be cut down. I don't know if our crew's going to do that or Dardanis Thursday. So yeah, it's already scheduled.
Okay.
So, yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
That one's on the main thoroughfare and
Oh, yeah.
everybody sees it.
Yes. Yep.
So thank you.
Yep.
All righty. Anything else? All right, Chief Sharp.
I just want to say, Your Honor, I think for the first time, we have 3 people just graduating from the academy that just graduated. We'll begin the FTO program, our Field Training Officer program. They have begun. We have 2 more in it right now and have another one that's supposed to be starting on June 1st that is certified officer already. So we will have 6 people in our Field Training Officer program this summer. So I'm going to say you're going to see 2-man cars a lot. It's not because we have 2-man cars. It's because we have 1 person training, and you're going to see about a third of our cars on the street are going to have 2 people in them right now. So we're definitely getting that. That'll be full staff for the first time with 33. We've never hit those levels before. So we're excited about that. Hopefully we can get through the summer and get them all trained and back on the street by fall. The other thing is we have our next beat, the Business Engagement Awareness Talk is going to be next Tuesday at 2 o'clock at the library, one for April. So want to put that out there and invite anybody that may want to come speak to us, whether they be a part of a business or a local citizen that wants to come. We'll be at the library and available to talk to anybody then. That's all I have.
Hey, Chief, on your training, what typically is the time frame that before they get out on their own?
It's about 4 months typically. From the time they get out of the time they graduate from the academy, it takes about 4 months. Sometimes a certified officer will get through a little quicker, but still pretty close to 4 months.
Okay, any other questions? All right, anything from legal? Okay, anything from anybody in the back? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, next will be an executive session for the purpose of determining positions relative to the matters that may be subject to negotiation.
Bids, meetings, and.
Oh, excuse me, bids, meetings, and announcements. Thank you.
Yes, there's lots going on. So we have 1 bid open for the Fort Morgan Humane Society Architectural Assessment and Cost Analysis Services, and that's due May 30th. And then the Museum Heritage Foundation Board meeting is on May 22nd, this Thursday. We are closed for Memorial Day, next Monday, the 26th, and our next council meeting is June 3rd.
Okay,
That's it.
now, next will be an executive session for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiations under CRS Section 24-6-402 4E. And the following additional details are provided for identification purposes. Industrial connection to the city wastewater treatment facility. I'd entertain a motion to go to executive session.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Go to executive session.
Second.
All right, so have a motion to go to executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, this portion of